What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? We ain't got a lot of time. I am up on I'm up against the clock today. This is the playoffs, baby. This is the playoffs, but it was too good. I said, nah, this can't even wait. This can't even wait. This can't even wait. See now, I gotta go through a whole lot real quick. So you gotta rock with me now. Rock with me. You're gonna have to double back through this thing. 1 second. Oh, yeah. You're gonna have to double back through this thing to really catch all the jewels, because I'm gonna be going kind of quick here. But it's important that I get this to you. I've been having some great discussions. Peace, peace, peace. Let me get right. I've been having some great discussion with some Moors. And it caused me to do some studying. You know what I mean? Get back into the books. And in the process, it's taught me a lot. Peace, 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 peace. Hi, I'm Rami Salam El. I thank you for tapping in. Thank you for joining. Aztecs. We got Aztecs. We got Prophet Muhammad. We got Mansa Musa. We got Yemen. We got Moors. How is that all connected? Let's get busy. Let's get busy. First, we're going to start off with When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler. And I'm going to be going kind of quick so you can watch this, double back through it, okay? Okay, so I'm going to just be reading real quick. This is page 30. When I arrived home, I again found myself opening the letters of Cortez, which described the war against the Aztecs. Hernando Cortez, the leader of the Spanish invasion, wrote these so-called quote-unquote letters. Just to give you the context. As my father, and I skipped ahead a little bit, opening Gamar's account to the same meeting between Cortez and Montezuma, I read to see what he wrote about Montezuma's words to Cortez. Gamar wrote, as my father told me and his father told him, our ancestors and kings from whom I am descended were not natives of this country, but newcomers, led by a great lord who a little while later returned to his own land. The Aztecs were foreigners who came to America aboard ships, which had come from the direction where the sun rises. Montezuma's speech astonished me. This was a critically important correction of pre-Columbian American history by Montezuma, whose name was really Montezuma, according to the Aztecs. Most modern historians deny passionately a transatlantic origin for the Aztecs, claiming the Aztecs were Indians who migrated from North America. Here we go. I slid back into the pages of the letters Cortez had written to the King of Spain. The military leader had taken ships and troops from a harbor at Cuba without the Spanish king's permission, and had begun waging war against people in Mexico, including the Aztecs. Very key. Cortez's letters did not seem really like letters. Instead, they were sort of a brief, providing detailed accounts of what Cortez saw, heard, and did during his attack on Mexico. Just giving you the context. Here we go. Just after midnight, another curious passage came from the Cortez letters. Listen closely. And so we remained there very much at ease throughout the rest of the day and night, thinking all disturbance had settled down. Next day, after hearing Mass, I dispatched a messenger to Veracruz, giving them good news that I had entered the city to find the Christians, quote-unquote Christians, Spanish soldiers, alive and the city now quiet. But in half an hour, he returned all covered with bruises and wounds. crying that the whole populace of the city was advancing in war dress and all the bridges were raised. The whole city was mobbing on him. Listen closely. And immediately behind him came a multitude of people from all parts, so that the streets and the house roofs were black with natives. All of who came on with the most frightful yells and shouts it is possible to imagine. The streets and house roofs were black with natives. The attack had occurred after sunrise. The blackness of the Aztec warriors was not the result of a night's lack of light. Cortez's slip of the tongue regarding the blackness of the Aztecs was followed a few days later by another comment that slipped through the censors. They're talking about pelicans. Pelicans, many colors that live by fishing, as big as geese, with a beak about 2 spans long, only the lower member of which is movable, with a sack that hangs down to their breast. In it they can store more than 10 pounds of fish and a pitcher of water. I have heard it is said that one of those birds swallowed a black baby a few months old, but could not fly away with it and so was captured. The bird swallowed the baby, but it couldn't fly away. Just listen. The censor or interpreter of the work failed to continue using Moorish and dark complexioned to describe the Mexicans, choosing in this instance to use an adjective that was certain and unquestionable: black. So see, they were censoring and they make sure to keep it either Moorish, dark complexion, or they'll flip it and say Indian, native. They try to keep, they don't want you to know that quote unquote black and Moorish is connected. Listen closely, real quick. Just as the librarian had cautioned, the government's account of the Aztecs, written by Cortez, seemed washed or censored. The African presence was effectively hidden, even while the descriptions exposed the people's braided hair, Moorish clothing, their mosque, African police system, and African ornamentation. But now a quote-unquote black baby has stood up from the pages. How had the censors missed that? Oh, and this is the last part. Here's the key to connection. Here we go. One of the books the Ethiopian scholar sent contained an account of 2 transatlantic expeditions. And this is chapter 7. 2 transatlantic expeditions launched from Mali, a country in West Africa. Written by Dr. Ivan van Sertima, a professor at Rutgers who had come from South America, the book included an account of African ships sent across the Atlantic Sea by a Mali king called Abu Bakari, and that's Abubakari, Abu Bakari. The ships were launched toward the Americas nearly 200 years before Columbus went across the same sea. The 2 Atlantic sea crossings by the Mali explorers became more important when I noticed that the Moorish, quote-unquote, black Aztecs had arrived at Mexico in ships about the same time that Mali sent her ships across the Atlantic. When the rocks cry out. Okay, here we go. Ooh, we pushing it, I got about 15 more minutes. Now we taking it to the Holy Koran, Circle 7. You're just gonna have to walk with me step by step. So we got Aztecs, we know them Moorish, they're calling them black. Aztecs are connected to the Mali people that sent ships across Abu Bakari 200 years before Columbus, okay? Quran, Circle 7, we just going to the prologue. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. And for the first time in ages, these secrets have been delivered in the hands of Muslims of America. So understand, this information was coming from the East, from Muslims in the East. Now it's here for Muslims in America. Muslims in the East, Muslims in America. And things, okay, keep going. The industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hamathites, and Canaanites who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. The industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. Let's go to the map. Northwest, Southwest Africa. What's in Southwest Africa? You guessed it, Mali. Oh, but it's not just that simple. Let's go to chapter 47. Come on now. Walk with me. Because it's a little deeper than they let on. Because I said Northwest and Southwest Africa. Why does that sound familiar? Then I got back into the books. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants, is chapter 47, are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Here we go. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family are second. Then came the word Ethiopia. Remember Ethiopia, remember. Which means the demarcation line. Here we go. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of the brethren from Asia and the Holy... No, that's not the part I was looking for. I'm sorry. Here we go. Sorry. Here we go. The Moabites from the land of Moab who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. That was in the beginning, right? But here goes a little bit deeper. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. Oh my goodness. And then it says, a little bit further, it says, also the Niger River was dredged by the great Pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the River Nile westward across the great Atlantic. And if you look up Niger River, you can only find it South America. Oh my goodness. But let's focus on this one line here. The dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, northeast, Southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis before the earthquake. So our people were on both sides, all over, across this whole thing, before the split happened. Then the split happened. It was people already over here, right? Our people had already been over here. And then Aztecs from Southwest Africa, Mali, had came over here. They were Moorish. They were dark-skinned too, but they came over here and they were considered foreigners, probably because it's been quite a long time since the split. Are you following me? Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. Oh, boom. And then here's the greater key. We got 10, 12 minutes, boom. Then when you look into Mali specifically, you understand that's where Mansa Musa came from. You know, Black is King, Jay-Z, he dropping the jewels about Mansa Musa, right? That's where the Mali Empire, very amazing empire. Let's go to the, let me see if I got this pulled up. Where's the Mali Empire? We gotta get this Mali Empire up here one time. Hold on, one second. I don't think you understand. The Mali Empire was an empire in West Africa from 1235 to 1670. Okay, the empire was founded by Sudiata Kieta, and became renowned for the wealth of its rulers, especially Musa Kieta, Mansa Musa. Um, but here's, and I'm reading, this is the Mali Empire. This is just off Wikipedia. Um, my boy D Rose just got the Mansa Musa. Oh, come on, let's watch how it all come together. Watch how it all come together, okay? Um, so the history of the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa, as it says right here, much of the recorded information of the Mali Empire comes from three notable people. One, a Moroccan traveler in the 16th century, Leo Africanus, okay? Two, a 14th century Moroccan traveler, Ibn Battuta, okay? And here's a very important person, a 14th century North African Arab named Ibn Khaldun, okay? Ibn Khaldun. Why is he important? Why is he important? Oh my goodness, why? Why him? Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun, I'll spell it for you, Ibn Khaldun, okay? Look him up. He was an Arab scholar, okay, of Islam, social scientist and historian, who has been described as the father of the modern disciplines of historiography, sociology, economics, and demography. And this is the very important part. Niccolo Machiavelli of the Renaissance and the 19th century European scholars widely acknowledged the significance of his works and considered Ibn Khaldun to be one of the greatest philosophers of the Middle Ages. Ibn Khaldun was one of the greatest philosophers of the Middle Ages. His family. His life is, he has an autobiography. He put his own, so you can check that out. But let me just read it. He's generally known as Ibn Khaldun, was born in Tunis. Tunis, where is that from here? Tunis. The industrious acts of Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hamites, Canaanites. In the later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis. The Muslims or the Moors. He is indeed, yes indeed, North African, quote unquote Arab, a Moor from Tunis. If you look, now we know it is Tunisia, right at the top. But it gets deeper. What time we got? We got about 5 more minutes. We get, okay, boom. Okay, here we go. Boom. He was born in Tunis into an upper-class Andalusian, which is quote-unquote Moorish Spain, Andalusian family of Arab descent. Okay, and then I started looking, well, what is his descent line? And then you see that it's connected to some people in Yemen. In his autobiography, Khaldun traces his descent back to the time of Muhammad through an Arab tribe from Yemen. Okay, what is that? Well, what does that mean, Rami? What are you talking about? What does that have to do with all? What are you talking about, man? Oh, man, let me see if I can. I gotta put it together. Hold on 1 second. Oh, it just something else just came to me. I'm trying to find it if I can. Oh, we're gonna have to hold off on that. I'll try to come back to it at the end. But I went to look up into the Arab tribe, right? And this is where it got connected. It got connected with some other research I was doing in terms of angels and Prophet Muhammad. And then I was looking up into Gabriel or Jabril and found out that he was even connected with Ishmael and Hagar, who Ishmael and Hagar were the two people, both in the Bible and in Islam and the Quran. But Ishmael and Hagar was said to have built to help put together the Kaaba. And then I was looking into the history. We all gonna tie it back together. All gonna tie it back together. Looking into the history. So keep in your mind, Ibn Khaldun came from Yemen. But Ishmael and Hagar, they built the Kaaba in Mecca, right? A part of the people that built the Kaaba in Mecca a long time ago. Hagar passes, his wife, Ishmael's wife passes. Ishmael marries a woman from Jurhum, Jurhum. And then when you look into that, it also is known as the Catanite tribe. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Qahtanite tribe. And then I have it looked up right here. And you can look this is right off Wikipedia. I got to do more research just to verify, but just walk with me. The Catanite, a Qatani tribe, refers to Arabs who originate from Yemen. According to Arab tradition, the Qatanites or Qatanis are pure Arabs. They are pure Arabs, unlike the Adonites, who were Arabized Arabs, the descended from Ishmael through Adnan. The Qatani people are divided into two groups, and then a little bit further down, it says here, according to Arab tradition, the Adonites are called Arabized because it is believed that Ishmael was speaking Hebrew, and he got married to a woman from a Qatani Yemeni woman, and learned Arabic from her. So just to follow and understand, this Qatani or Qatani tribe is considered pure Arabs. And from this tribe, this Yemenese woman is the one who taught Ishmael Arabic. According to this, I don't know exactly. I'm just following along, but just pay attention now. And further it says, between the 7th and 14th centuries, the Arabs had forged an empire that extended their rule from most of Spain to western China in the east. During this period of expansionism, the Arabs, including the Qatani or Qatani tribes, overspread these lands, intermingling with local native populations while yet maintaining their cultural identity. Very key. Excuse me. It says, although you can find the largest number of Qatani Arabs in Yemen, among the most famous example of the Qatani or Qatani Arabs are the social scholar Ibn Khaldun, who was born in Tunisia to a family that immigrated from Islamic Spain. Okay, we tied it together now. Ibn Khaldun, descendant of this ancient tribe from Yemen of Arabs, pure Arabs. Ibn Khaldun is more. Yes, okay, and let's just so we're clear. Yemen is right here, okay? Right next to Ethiopia. I'm talking right, you can, boop, you right to Yemen, okay? If you just, right there. But what does it have to do with us? What does it have to do with us? Look at the, we had the limit. I gotta go. But I wanna get this on the record. I just seen this when I was looking up something different. It's a hadith narrated by by Amir ibn Abasa. And it says, while the messenger of Allah was showing some horses, and with him was Uyaniah ibn Hisin ibn, that's a long name. You just gotta walk with me. And he said to Uyaniah, I am more discerning of horses than you. And Uyaniah then said, I am more discerning of men than you. And he said, how is that so? So how is that? He said, the best of men are the ones who place their swords upon their shoulders, and they lay their spears upon the woven saddles of their horses. They are the people from Najad. The Prophet Muhammad replied, you are mistaken. The best of men are the men of Yemen. Belief is Yemeni, and I am Yemeni. Whoa, whoa, Nelly. Whoa, Nelly. Things are getting a little interesting. You feel me? But I just wanted to read this, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Go ahead and close it out. In Yemen today, they have a people called undesirables. And you should look it up. I wish I had the article to get it specifically. I'm gonna drop it in there in the box. But the way that these people in Yemen are being treated is very much how so-called black people are being treated. And I just thought that was very interesting. But I wanted to close out with this because it's like, well, what does Prophet Muhammad in Yemen have to do with anything in Ethiopia? Oh, that's what I wanted to do. You know, read that and close it out. Boom. So this is the life of Muhammad. Immigration to Abyssinia. When tyranny reached its extreme limit, the prophet assembled his followers and, pointing to the west, told them of a land across the sea where men were not murdered because of a change of faith, where they could worship God unmolested, and where there was a just king. Let them go there. Maybe the change would bring them relief. A party of Muslim men, women, and children, acting on this suggestion, went to Abyssinia. Abyssinia is the name of the land that we now know is Ethiopia, which is right next to Yemen, which is up the block from Mecca. The migration was on a small scale and very pathetic. The Arabs regarded themselves as keepers of the Kaaba, and so they were. To leave Mecca was for them a great wrench, and no Arab could think of doing so unless living in Mecca had become absolutely impossible. And then, here we go right here. The letter to the Negus. The letter to the Negus, king of Abyssinia, was carried by Ibn bin Umayyah Dimri, and it ran as follows. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, Muhammad, the messenger of God, writes to the Negus, king of Abyssinia. O king, peace be of God, peace be upon you. O king, peace of God be upon you. I praise before you the one and only God. None else is worthy of worship. He is the King of kings, the source of all excellences, free from all defects. He provides peace to all his servants and protects his creatures. I bear witness that Jesus, son of Mary, was a messenger of God who came in fulfillment of promises made to Mary by God. Mary had consecrated her life to God. I invite you to join with me in attaching ourselves to the one and only God and obeying him. I invite you to also follow me and believe in the God who has sent me. I am his messenger. I invite you and your armies to join the faith of the Almighty God. I discharge my duty hereby. I have delivered to you the message of God and made clear to you the meaning of this message. I have done so in all sincerity, and I trust you will value the sincerity which has prompted this message. He who obeys the guidance of God becomes heir to the blessings of God. When this letter reached the Negus, he showed very great regard and respect for it. He held it up to his eyes, descended from the throne, and ordered an ivory box for it. He deposited in the box and said, while this letter is safe, my kingdom is safe. What he said proved true. For 1,000 years, Muslim armies were out on their career of conquest. They went in all directions and passed by Abyssinia on all sides, but they did not touch this small kingdom of the Negus. And just to close it out, name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of the Northwest, by the European nations in 1774. Negro, black, colored, and Ethiopia. Study, study, study. That is the key. My goodness. My goodness, man. We got to study Noble Drew Ali. We got to study this information. Moorish history, Yemen history, Arab history, North African history, Islamic history, Abyssinian history, Ethiopian history. It's all important. Mali history, Tunisian history, Algerian history. All of it is connected. Aztec history, Olmec history, because that's the other thing. I didn't mention that. But the Aztecs were saying when they got there, they realized it was people already there. Who were those people? The people that had been there before the great split that caused the great Atlantic Ocean. Moors, because we've been there. Olmecs, you know it. Much love to you. Keep shining. Keep studying. That is the key. Love.